G'day punters, welcome back to another episode. Just an update on this one. Going to talk briefly about four things. The canopy, you see it's stripped out, a bit more about that shortly. The rear axle weight predominantly. What's happening with the rear diff. I'll show you a couple of pictures from having too much fun. A little bit about the wrap. And a little bit about the caravan as well. So stay tuned. What the bloody heck is with the canopy? Some familiar parts here. Travel buddy oven. That's just about all the stuff out of the canopy. Show you. You might remember there was some discussion on my YouTube channel last year when I was up probably around just before Adele's Grove, and I asked whether my canopy was, or my chassis was bent. And if you follow that discussion, you'll see that I mentioned that the canopy's bent. Well, I've just come back off just over 3 months Flinders Ranges and Outback, Western Queensland and all that sort of stuff. And there's some videos on the channel about that already. And the canopy is getting a little bit tired. I mean, it's pushing 250,000 Ks. I've just been around to a mate's business, East Bundaberg Engineering, might know him as Almac Boat Loaders. He's done a bit of work for me. Just went and had a chat to him. I was in two minds whether to replace this canopy or to just rebuild it. So after chatting to him, I've decided I'm going to rebuild it. It's going to be a bunch cheaper. Going to move this rear wall. Going to move it forward, probably about 250 mils, I'll say. And the doors obviously will need to be shortened as well. So he's going to do that for me in October. And because he's local, hopefully I'll be able to get around there and take some video while they're doing the work for me. So there'll be a video for, I reckon, November. Let's talk a little bit about being too fat on the back end. If you watched a previous video of mine, you'll know that when I'm towing the van, I'm about 400 kilos over the rear axle weight. That was when I was fully loaded. Why have I got it stripped out? Next month I'm taking this truck for a little bit of a drive without the canopy. Spend a bit of money on it, and it's going to have a different back end on it. I'm not talking about the canopy, I'm talking about a different back end. No, I'm not lengthening the chassis either. What's the story about the diff? I wasn't actually driving in four-wheel drive. I was driving through a little country town in York Peninsula, and we were a slow right-hand turn, and I heard a bang, and it sounded like, well, I thought it was a bolt shearing or the axle braking. Had a good look around. Didn't see anything obvious. Well, the obvious thing was that the rear locker shit itself. I'm going to drop some pictures in here. Recently I travelled through Melbourne, and I had planned to change out the rear diff centre because of the work that's happening next month. Fortunately I got it in when I did. You'll see from the pictures, the rear locker shit itself. Too much fun. I obviously had too much fun with the rear diff. I figure, and this is what I reckon, that there's a pawl that actuates on a solenoid that engages or disengages the locker with the diff and on the splines of the axle, and I think that failed, so it wasn't engaging that gear that locks up with the diff and the splines on the axle, so it was just swinging around the air. Consequently, the sliding gear which engages the diff lock was loose on the axle, and when I did that right hand turn, again this is what I figure, that engaged the diff lock, and that was the bang. 360 gearboxes and Diffs said they've never seen one like that, and usually the axles break before the locker. Too much fun, eh? New diff centre and new rear locker in, thanks to 360 gearbox and Diffs down in Melbourne. They fitted me in at very short notice. Did a fantastic job. So what's up with the wrap? The wrap's a couple of years old now. It's getting a little bit long in the tooth. You can see all these little marks. It's just starting to lose its colour and it's a bit crazed. It's probably later this year I'm going to put a new wrap on it. Let me know what you think. Keep the same style or change it up. I don't know yet. I still like the pattern, but I might change the colours. Let me know what you think in the comments, eh? Weight. The 400 kilos. Talked about this already a little bit. GVM upgrade, that's what's happening. I've already had one to 3950. That was an ARB upgrade. This one's going to go up to 4499, 1 kilo below heavy vehicle limit. As I say, there'll be a separate video on that. Probably just before I take it for a drive later this month. And when I pick it up, it's going to take 2 weeks for them to get through the work they need to do. While we're away, we tugged this van for 12,970 k's, and this last trip we travelled 17,896 k's, so a bit of country we travelled again. And the landcruiser's punching just under 250,000 now, so it's just, well, it's within 1,000 k's of its 250,000 service. Well, that's an update. Content from the trip around Australia, that's from last year, though we finished it this year. I think I've got 3 episodes left, so I'll get into that so you can get them up on there. And there's still a bunch of content from dinosaurs, bull dust and flies, and once we finished that, when we hit the Flinders Ranges, Gammon Ranges, I did a bunch more content just on that area, and nothing else really from then onwards, because it was just mostly social stuff, catching up with family and friends and stuff. Anyhow, till next time, eh? Cheers.